Hello and welcome to the Teach Music 21C podcast series. I'm Merlin Thompson, the creator and founder of Teach Music 21C, a music studio teacher community that takes its inspiration from real life students, parents, and teachers. And I'll take a moment to make sure you know about all the amazing resources available on our website at teachmusic21c.com. So when you've got time, please check it out. And today, I'd like to welcome once more Lorrie Merrell from our executive team at Teach Music 21C. Welcome, Lorrie.
Hi.
And today, I think we've got a really good topic to talk. We need to talk about busy families and what that means for the health and well-being of our students and their parents. What comes to mind for you when I mention the topic of busy scheduled families?
Well, I have 5 of my own kids, and I'm certainly guilty of overscheduling and being part of that really busy family. And I don't know that there are a lot of benefits to being super busy, but it's so easy to get into that because you've got kids and they're all talented and you want to give them everything and you want to put them in this and that, and everything that you put them in kind of wants all of you. Nothing is recreational. Everything is all or nothing. So I compete with that with piano lessons. But I do see a lot of tired kids and a little bit overscheduled, and I don't know how they keep up. My mother-in-law told me years ago with one of my children, my daughter, who was a really good pianist, she said, "Be careful, Lorrie, to keep in mind what's most important to you and not spread her too thin." And not to, be the jack of all trades and maybe not have one thing that you excel at. And I appreciated that because it helped me step back and see, oh my goodness, we are busy and we are overscheduled. And maybe I am stretching my children too far.
Yeah, and it just brings out that whole how easy it is to run out of space for what I'll call downtime. And for me, it's something that's absolutely necessary for students and their parents both. So you mentioned busy kids, overscheduled, tired, on all the rest of it. I see the same thing in parents. I see parents, dropping their kids off for a lesson, and they're on the way to the next activity, and they look like they've got a million things on their mind, and they're trying to keep all these, what will I say? They're juggling everything at the same time. They've got jobs, they've got their partner needs, they've got to get groceries. They're thinking about what's happening next week. Yeah, they're trying to keep everything going. And downtime is such an important part of who we are. We talk a lot about here at Teach Music 21C about growth and rest. And it just reminds me that, paying attention to downtime is a really important thing.
It's so important for the kids and the parents. And I sympathize with the parents because I've been there, and it's exhausting. And I think it's unhealthy and it doesn't do anybody any good, but we get in that and don't even realize it.
Sure.
When we did do downtime, it was times when my kids would just come and just play songs on the piano and sing, and I would actually lay down on the floor in the studio just to listen to them and just enjoy it without critiquing or saying anything.
Yeah.
And reading a book or go outside and look at the clouds. I know a friend of mine said that one time, when do you ever go outside and just look at the clouds and see what figures they're making and shapes, and go outside and swing on the swing? Those are really important things, and it's less adrenaline going in and less stress, and you can reevaluate, you can work on family relations that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all know that that's important. It's just that we have to step back and go, oh, I have to remember this.
Yeah. And do I have space for it? Or have I scheduled my day so full of things that there's absolutely no space for downtime? The other one that comes to mind for me is this whole idea of free play. The idea that we make things up on the spur of the moment. And I'm always, interested to read about play and how different age groups interpret play. So adults interpret play in terms of formalized games like soccer or like chess or or playing cards or any of those. Those are formalized games with rules that we follow from beginning to end. But free play is something quite different. And the research is quite fun because it points out how for children, rules in free play are always changing. So the person who started off in this game as the dinosaur might turn into a butterfly halfway through the game. Or, something that was off limits before, well, suddenly there's a magic character that shows up and we have a way of getting through those obstacles and so on. So this whole notion of free play and how kids are a lot in scheduled activities that have rules, that have frameworks, and those things are all good. I'm not going to say those things are things we should avoid, but I'm just saying that there is this whole other side of play, which is just complete freedom.
I think it makes a more complete human being when you have both sides.
For sure.
And I enjoyed so much, especially in the fall when the leaves are falling and we have a lot of leaves in the yard. My husband and I will go out with grandkids and just rake leaves and rake big piles and then leap and jump. And then they are making up those games.
Yeah.
They're going out in the scrub oak and finding monsters and playing. And it's just so much fun to watch. And it's such an important part of their development to have that free time and to just imagination and make up and building family and ties together and just a family that plays together,
Yeah. And the other thing that I see is problem solving too. So when you have a game and you arrive and it's a free game, it's a free play, you inevitably arrive at situations that you haven't anticipated. And you need to find a way to work through that. So you're talking about raking leaves and jumping into the pile of leaves. Well, what happens when the pile of leaves isn't as high as you thought it was and you hit the ground sooner? So for me, it's just really interesting how those kinds of circumstances can really have an impact on children's ability, on all of our ability to come up with solutions on the spur of the moment.
Yeah, problem solving is really important, and you have to give them chances and places and times to do those problem solving techniques. And it's really interesting to watch the kids together problem solve, or when somebody jumps and gets hurt and how the other one comes and shows empathy and concern and puts their arm around their little brother instead of the fighting, which happens most of the time. But those little nuggets of love and empathy and problem solving, they go into their adulthood, and it's a really important part. Into free play is where that is just such a great place for those things to happen.
Yeah, and it's totally different, from that organized play where the solutions have already been solved for you in a kind of way. The thing that keeps running through our discussion, though, about busy families is strengthening those relationships within the family. And I always think, kids and parents spend a lot of time in the car, but I don't know that it's really quality time in the car together. So if you're rushing from one place to another all the time, and there's a lot on your mind, I'm always concerned about when are the deep conversations taking place. And I do imagine some of them take place in the car, but I do imagine just what would it be like when we have an unscheduled, let's go for a walk. It's our Thursday evening. We have to go for a walk as a family. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with what that was like in terms of a downtime and what that meant for your family relationships?
Going for walks is wonderful. And that just made me think of after Thanksgiving dinners here, we all go for a walk. And we've got mountains right up the street from us. And so we will go and just walk in the mountains and look at nature and enjoy each other and laugh and play. And then after dinners too, I always tried, it wasn't always, but tried to have meals together, because that's when they'll talk a lot. You're eating, you're enjoying your food, and they talk. And And I read somewhere, if you're not willing to have fun and meaningless conversations with
Mm.
your kids, you're not going to get to the serious ones.
Oh, that's such an interesting point. Having the fun conversations before
Yeah.
you get to the serious ones. Absolutely, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So when I heard that, I thought I've got to incorporate this and just do have fun and be silly and laugh. And then sometimes after dinner or dish time or whatever, serious conversations would come up.
Hmm.
And it's what you've done is built a safe place
Yeah.
for them to talk, and not all the time, but yeah, that's where you can find out things that are going on in their lives and things that you could discuss and help each other with,
Hmm.
or impart your wisdom to your kids if they're willing to receive it, but
Sure.
there's the beforehand, there's the free time and the fun conversations and the play and making up games and no rules and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying really as well as that getting into the habit of talking to each other about everything. So talking to each other about the fun things, the safe things, and then talking to each other about the things that are that are concerning to you that you don't have, and creating that safe environment for that to take place. So, it's so much fun. We haven't talked about music at all this morning, but I did read some research the other day that families who listen to music together while they're cooking, while they're preparing a meal together, uh, there was this little tidbit in the research that they agreed the food tasted better when they all sat down at the meal together. I thought that was really interesting. But what we've been here this morning is talking about busy families, the benefits of creating those open spaces for families. Let's just see if we can get what were the three things that we talked about. I'll pass one to you.
I'm creating family conversations and making a safe place so that it builds ties within the family.
Yeah.
And that happens in downtime.
Right. Yep. So we got family relationships, the importance of contributing to family relationships, the importance of paying attention to what downtime looks like. And the last one I brought forward was this whole idea of free play. So here we are. Yep. I'm Merlin Thompson. I've been here with Lorrie Merrell. Today we've been talking about busy family schedules and what does that mean and how can we respond to that. For all those of you listening, we hope you've enjoyed our chat this morning. Lorrie, thanks for joining in.
Thank you so much.
And to everybody out there, we hope to see you on our next podcast. Thanks so much for joining in today. I'm Merlin Thompson, and bye for now.